Hey, everybody, welcome to our podcast, The Plumbing Gurus. On this episode, we're going to be talking about what they don't tell you when you start your own plumbing business. My name's Clayton.
And I'm Carson.
Let's get this show rolling.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, Carson, you want to start this one off?
Yeah.
Put him right on the spot.
So like when I started my business, everybody thinks that when you first start your business, you're going to be making a ton of money. You're going to have all this freedom and, there's that you think about. And then there's other people that will tell you that you're going to be working 14, 16 hours a day. It really depends on how you handle it. There is definitely times where you are working a lot of hours if you want to put the time in. But one of the things I'd say they don't tell you is really how difficult it is. And that you're doing everything. Like when you're just an employee, you show up, you work your 8 to 4, whatever times you're working, you show up, you get the job done. There are stresses to being an employee for sure because your boss or whoever your supervisor, the owner is putting a lot of weight on your shoulders. But at the end of the day, if you flood a house, it's not your problem. It sucks. It's you did it, but you don't pay for it. You don't have the liability, and you don't have the ultimate stress of like I just flooded a house. You do because you did it, but you get over it because it's not really your problem. It's not on your insurance. It doesn't cost you money. So like there's these types of things that, and people always say like, oh, plumbers charge so much money. So, well, we have one of the highest liability trades, and I'll argue that to anybody, whether it's an electrician or anybody really in residential. I think electricians in industrial have like crazy liability, but for like residential plumbing, we have, because we can flood houses and like how often does anyways, the biggest thing I would say that I struggled with at the beginning is finding the work, and not necessarily retaining it. Like once we got the work, it was easy to retain it because of like just the quality of work that we did. And that was always like essentially my sales pitch. Like just give me a chance. Like just hire me and I'll prove to you that I can do it. And once you get that work, it's there. But it's finding the work, getting more work, and invoicing and doing all that paperwork and stuff that you just have no idea what the hell you're doing. You're kind of just figuring out as you go. And that's why we want to help you guys not make the same mistakes we did, type of thing. Yeah. So, and we're still learning. That's why we're doing this. We're doing this to also help further and learn ourselves along the way. Yeah, it's tough because
you get home from a work day, and especially if you've done, 3 jobs, and they're smaller jobs, right? And you get home from a 6 to 10 hour workday, whatever it takes to do that.
10.
Well, I was more of a workaholic than Carson was, but I have a hard time saying no to people, and I always want to just get the job done and have everybody happy and whatnot, blah blah blah, and try to get it done on their schedule. And I've changed a little bit since then, but you get all that done. And then you go home, you spend some time with the family, and then you think you're gonna go sit on the couch and kind of veg out, maybe watch a show or something, or go hit the gym, and then you're like, oh shit, I gotta fucking invoice these jobs. I gotta go over a quote that I fucking did a couple weeks ago,
or go look at a job at like 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, like it's never ending, but that's the hustle, right? And in the early stages, it doesn't seem to get easier for a while, and then you just all of a sudden things start clicking.
You become more efficient.
You become more efficient. Yeah. You start losing those contractors that don't pay you right away, that are kind of naggy, that have their expectations or through the roof, and they don't want to pay any money for that. You start realizing,
you start quoting them way too much so they don't get the job.
yeah. And, you develop these strategies to kind of play time to your advantage rather than always chasing time, because time is one of those, it's everything, man. You can't get it back. You're wasting your time away. You'll never get that time back. So you might as well be doing something that's going to get you towards a goal, whether that's being able to quote faster or estimate faster, or being able to get like I used to be like, oh yeah, I'll come over to your house and I'll take a look and I'll see what I need for the job. Now people call me. I'm like, send me a bunch of pictures. Okay, yeah, this is what it's going to cost, and I can get there tomorrow at whatever time, and it'll take me about this long to do it. I don't even need to go to the house anymore. Even for decent sized jobs, I can just send me some pictures. Let me know what your layout's going to be. Okay, yeah, what's okay? No problem. We'll figure it out. Let's go. And before I would take like, 2 hours out of my day, including driving. So you'd have to drive from where I'm at now, from point A to the job, look at the job, talk to the client or homeowner, or whoever it is, the builder, and then drive back to where you were in the beginning. That's like 2 hours right there. Not right now. I can take one picture or a few pictures or a little video within 5 minutes. All
Yeah.
that's done. I've saved myself an hour and 55 minutes.
Yeah.
Legit. And now I can be working on other things that are going to be making me more money or that are important to me at that time in my life, to move me forward. So that's just like one of those things nobody teaches you
Yeah.
or you don't really know about. You kind of figure that out as you go. But
Well, and
it's,
one of the things that I would say, like back on topic of like what they don't tell you about starting your own business is plumbers. We're mostly, like I dropped out of high school. We're not exactly like the most organized. Like we're hands-on people. We're not really designed to run businesses. The majority of us, and that's why a lot of plumbing businesses do fail, is because like people like us as plumbers, as the working like the hands-on working type of person, we're scatterbrained. We're just ready to do stuff. And when you sit down to do your quotes or invoices or whatever, it's like finding the work is one thing. Like it's not that hard to like be out there and find work and get the work, do the work. That part's easy. But getting paid, doing the invoicing, the quoting, the bookkeeping, all the other bullshit that comes in the back end that nobody really thinks about. That's stuff they don't really tell you. It's like as a plumber, you can do the work. If you're a good plumber, if you're good at what you do, then it's easy to do the work. It's all the other stuff, wearing every single hat there is within a business. And the sooner you can kind of just like, get to the point where you can start hiring like an admin or a bookkeeper and like get that stuff off your plate, because our brains aren't like wired to do that kind of stuff. But if you can figure it out at an early stage for the first couple of years and just like be organized, make sure you actually do your paperwork, invoice on time, and make sure you're diligent about getting paid. Because like again, you're now 100% commission. Like you are the salesperson, you are the worker, you're doing everything at the beginning. And the longer you can do everything as much as you can, the better, because then you're not wasting. I see so many people hire people right away. Like they hire an
yeah,
apprentice because they think they have to have an apprentice.
yeah.
And then
Or
there
they hire
goes
the mid.
all your profits, and like you're stressed out because you're not making money. You got kids, whatever. It's like there's all this shit
Yeah,
involved. The more you can do by yourself in the first couple years and bank as much money as you can, I would say is the better path.
yeah,
But it's just unfortunate. A lot of people think that they like. Even when I was on my own for the first few years before you started coming with me, everyone's like, "Oh, do you have employees?" Even to this day, like, how many employees do you have? It's like, I don't want employees because employees cost money and like become a lot of work. And it is great to want to scale and get there, but I would highly recommend doing it on your own for a while and just
much-
understanding the business as a whole,
yeah.
and bank as much money as you possibly can, because they don't tell you how hard it is when you have employees. That's
Yeah.
what they don't tell you.
Yeah, and like too, admin staff, like just do it on your own. Learn how that works. So when you do hire an admin staff, you can explain to them exactly how the process works and how you've structured that side of the business, right? And you get used to it, and it's fluent for you to pass it on to somebody else. And another thing too is have a good work vehicle. Whether it's a van, a truck and trailer, somewhere where you can store as many tools and as much material as you need for whatever jobs that you're going to be doing, so that you don't have to like take up half your garage with stuff, or even worse, don't even think about renting a garage unless you absolutely have to, or renting like a little shop space, or having like an office space that you're renting. Like keep all that stuff to a minimum,
Yeah.
right? Like
And I think one of the mistakes that we made, that I and it's tough because I see a lot of other people doing it too, and it's easy for me to say to not do this, but when you have no work and you just want to take on anything, we took on bathroom renovations, like we took on all these jobs that we just took them because we didn't need the money, but we needed the work. We did need the money, and it's like we just took them, and you end up taking these jobs, and what happens is You think you need the work, so you quote all this work, but then you're like, oh shit, we have nothing to do. So somebody calls you like, yeah, sure, I can paint the house or whatever the fuck it is you think you're doing. You go and do that. You're doing a bathroom renovation for your wife's best friend, and you're making peanuts, and then all of a sudden you get busy. All those jobs you quoted 6 months ago are landing, and now these big jobs that you can make lots of money and like get good clients from, they start coming in, and you're doing these stupid little jobs that aren't making you money and just stressing you out. And like, so if you can stay away from just taking anything and everything and understand what kind of plumber you want to be, whether it's a service guy, a renovation guy, or new construction or whatever, or if you want to do them all, that's fine. But understand what kind of plumber you want to be and try to stay in your lane as much as possible. If you're going to be strictly service, don't think that you're a renovation guy. If you've been doing service your whole life and you don't know how to do renovations, I don't recommend taking them on.
No.
Because you're just going to stress yourself out. You're going to make mistakes. If you're not good at renovations or new construction, it's a whole different ballgame. That's why I stopped doing service. I made too many mistakes. I hate the headaches of service. I'm not a service plumber. So I eventually figured that out. Eventually, we started picking our lane, and something I wish I would have kind of started from day one was just sticking with like what we did best. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But again, you got to make money, so you got to kind of take it. It's a double-edged sword or whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't know what it is, but
yeah, well, that's just a lesson learned through experience.
You figure it out as you go.
Like
I'm just letting you know.
It's gonna happen. Everybody's different, and experience and failures seem to be one of the best teachers in life. You can,
but it is better to learn from other people's mistakes.
Yeah. But you're still learning from an experienced somebody that's experienced that made that mistake, right?
And mentors are super important.
Mentors,
we've all had them. Now I have a hired business coach. Like if you're new, don't necessarily get a business coach, but
and I was gonna say, Carson, one thing they don't tell you is don't be afraid to say no.
It's true.
Somebody calls you and says, "Hey, blah blah, whatever, you're supposed to be here." Be like, I'm booked today. Like, you can't just expect me to drop what I'm doing and come to your job site. Like, I'm on somebody else's dollar right now. It's okay to be like, no, it can wait till tomorrow. I'm sorry, but it can wait till tomorrow. And if it's a dire emergency, be like, somebody else another service plumbing company can go and like cap a line on a job that you're on. Like, that's never happened to us. But there's nothing wrong with doing that. If you're scattered all over a job site and you're like, dude, it's going to take me like an hour and a half to clean up, and it's going to take me 2 hours before I even get to your job, right? And I'm going to fix this problem because one of your guys nicked the water line, the water's off, blah, blah, blah. At times, it's like you're better off to hire, a service company that can get there right away that's going to charge you this much money. It's probably going to be cheaper.
Or go the next morning.
Or go the next morning. Yeah, leave the water off.
That's all I ever tell like any client. That's one thing I've always been good at is telling people no. Like evenings, weekends, like I just say no. I don't work for I have a family. I want to be home every day. But if I get a call, like Clayton said, if somebody hits a water line, shut the water off. Well, what am I going to do? Well, if I can make it, I will.
Yeah.
But it's either the end of the day or the next morning. I'm not dropping what I'm doing for the entire day to, like you said, drive an hour and a half, or even if it's 30 minutes, like it turns into 2 hours total or more.
Yeah.
And you're not even making money at that point, most likely. And even if you are, it's like to make a couple $100, you're better off staying and getting more work done at where you're at.
Yeah, especially if you got everything set up and it's like you got to clean everything up. And so I'm sure there's we could probably go on for hours. This is like a really good podcast.
Big topic,
I feel like we should definitely come back to this when we have a guest on our podcast that's a plumbing business owner.
Yeah.
Right? And then we'll come back to this topic, but we could probably talk.
There's going to be a lot of repeated topics, I feel like. Even we've already mentioned the whole sales thing. We're going to do a whole podcast on sales.
Yeah.
Sales, if you don't like it, figure it out, because you can't run life without sales. So it's like that's the shit they don't teach you ever, period.
Yeah.
Is how important sales are in life. And you don't have to be a salesy fucking salesperson, but you have to be able to talk to people and understand how people work and how they think. And it's a tricky process, but it's like, if it doesn't come natural, start figuring it out now.
Yeah, I got one thing to add to this little podcast here we got going on today, Kirsten.
Right.
Is One thing that helped me out a lot doing like service calls. If you're a service guy and you're looking to get into service, and it intimidates you a little bit to, meet new clients, new homeowners and stuff. So what you do is you find your strengths in yourself and your personality, whatever it is about you that you see as like that makes you shine, makes you a really good person. Like somebody would say at your funeral, "Hey, he was just so good at giving and so caring," right? So you use those things about yourself and you sell that to other people. So when you go to their house, and I'm just like an outgoing person. So I'm always like, "Hey, how are you? My name's Clayton. What's your name again?" "Johnny." "Oh, John, it's very nice to meet you. How's your day going?" And I would say about 99% of the time, as soon as you approach somebody with confidence and kindness and an interest in how they're doing, and they just fall. They're just like, wow. Like I've met people, they come in the house and I'm working in the basement and they're like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "Oh, hey, I'm Clayton the plumber, blah, blah, blah." By the end of it, we're having a conversation about like going camping in 3 weeks from now. So you give off that and you let them just kind of have the trust in you as a person. It makes it a breeze. And then from there, not only does it help you with that client, they'll tell their friends about you. Next thing you know, "Hey, John said you're a good plumber." You're like an average plumber at best, but you're
Who the fuck's John?
But it definitely helps. I just wanted to add that on there that nobody tells you, that having a good communication skills and sharing.
Yeah, don't be awkward.
Yeah, don't be awkward. Like look them in the eyes. Be honest. With
And everybody's personality, like Clayton's like very extroverted. I'm extremely introverted, but I forced myself into, like, I don't like talking to people, but I don't have a choice. It's like I said, if you can't figure out sales, if you can't talk to people, unfortunately, you just won't succeed. If you can't network and get yourself out there, and every and that's one thing I kind of pride myself is like understanding people's personalities. Like I can understand like how to talk to each type of person that I'm talking to in a certain type of way. And if you can figure that out from an early stage, then it will come natural and easy, and it's not something you really think about.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's interesting. I like that you say that. You talk to certain people a certain way, right? To get your message to them, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like if you got like a lawyer or like some people, like if you're talking to a trades guy, you're gonna talk to him in a certain way. But if you're talking to a lawyer or a high end client, you're gonna talk to them in a certain way. You're not just gonna go in there like, "Hey, fuck, how's it going, man?" And like act like an idiot.
Yeah.
Like I can
Some
do that.
plumbers do that. Some people do that.
No, it's ridiculous. So don't be that guy. Read the room.
Don't
really.
be that guy. Read that.
Read the room.
I've got a story for a later podcast about when we were in Vegas. Read the room. Yeah.
Yeah, read the room, Clayton. But
there was some alcohol involved on that one. So yeah.
So yeah, that's back to what they don't tell you. There's a lot of things they don't tell you, but the one thing I can tell you is if you are starting a business, you're already in business, and you're struggling with it, just keep pushing. We've all been there. I almost folded my business. It was very close. It is difficult, and they always say those first 3 years, and yes, it is, the first 3 years are the hardest. But it's always hard. It doesn't matter what stage you're at. It's always difficult. So if you can just push through it and just keep trying, and get as much information as you can from people that know what the fuck they're talking about, whether it's not necessarily us, but find somebody that knows what they're talking about.
We know what we're talking about. We might not be like the smartest guys out there, but I'll tell you, we have a lot. We have a lot of different experience, and I like to say, what defies a person is smart. That they have a good memory. But I'm saying there's like, we have a lot of experience in a lot of different avenues.
Yeah.
And but we still have a lot to learn. And I think that's a huge strength.
That's true.
You always got to have a lot to learn. It's nothing worse than talking to that plumber or that that guy. He fucking knows everything.
Yeah, don't be that.
Even if you know everything, pretend like you don't know stuff.
Yeah,
be like, what, Billy? Is that right? What? Be like, what?
Anyways, that being said,
we're just having fun.
Yeah.
So
again, if you have, we're gonna probably end it at that and move on to the next one. But if you again we'd love to hear any comments about, what you want to hear about, or if you want us to talk about some, or if there's somebody you'd like us to interview, a type of business owner, whatever. We have plans
Yeah.
on bringing lots of different guests on here.
Or if you want to be interviewed, we're up for
Yeah,
doing Zoom. Or
if you are a plumbing business owner and you want to hop on a Zoom call, we'd love to do that too. So just let us know.
Yep.
Leave a comment, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you on the next one.